Because of AI, now you have like a system where you can give all your information, and it can actually make some salient points for you if we train that system correctly. At point that it can learn a lot. I mean, it will still keep learning because this artificial super intelligence system, even though it's like in its infancy.
Are you curious about discovering ways of making your life better? Then welcome to my podcast. I'm Bob Nickman, and this is The Exploding Human. Listen in while I talk with all kinds of people in the fields of personal growth, health and healing, alternative therapies, psychology, spirituality, environment, and the future. I'm looking for those answers that make life better for everyone. You'll meet cutting-edge practitioners, doctors, artists, filmmakers, business people, and those who have overcome challenges. The brave, the curious, anyone who is out there helping us humans to explore, expand, and explode. Hey, welcome to The Exploding Human. My name is Bob Nickman. My guest today is Dr. SOFIA Din, and we're going to be talking about how she shifted from treating disease to proactively optimizing health, wellness, beauty, and longevity. This episode is really about the future of medicine and some of the things that are already here and things that are on the horizon. Some of what we're going to be discussing is how AI will be used in the very near future to improve the health experience. We'll be talking about how to lift your body out of its naturally programmed pauses, such as menopause and andropause. We're going to be talking about some of the fastest anti-aging medicines and some of the best anti-aging supplements. So let's jump in. This is Dr. SOFIA Din. All right. Good morning, SOFIA. It's nice to meet you, and I'm so glad you're here. We had a little brief conversation before we started. And let's first talk about how you transitioned from being in geriatrics to what you're doing now. That's a interesting shift, to be dealing with older folks at the end of their days, and now to be in something that is more proactively longevity based.
So proactive longevity, these are some of these words
They're great words. We don't know what they mean.
Yes, it's it's like so I have been in this realm of health and wellness for over a decade now. So I think I belong to that batch of doctors who left whatever we were doing and started changing and aligning ourselves to the health of the humans that we were gonna serve. So it just started with just learning more, and thank God we were also simultaneously in the realm of internet, and we could not just align our findings in just the physical realm of where we were located, but also compare data globally for humans. And that released several medical grade information and technologies how to deal with the process of aging in a human body. And human body goes through, say, from birth, several spurts of growth. And then at some point you're fully grown, and then you come to some of your peak performance age, whatever is the, your environment and genetic code expressing for yourself. And then a time comes when the body starts manifesting some of its pre-programmed pauses, which are like, basically now as we're learning more, we're understanding that these are sometimes pre-programmed into your genetic code. This is your ancestral code, and every code is so uniquely unique while being similar in its overall expression. So that is leading us to the new and evolving path in human consciousness, which is wellness based and health based. And the understanding of all this is based upon the fact that aging should be viewed as something that that needs constant renewal until the point we are able to turn that switch off. Every pre-programmed pause that you are going to face, we have to lift your system out of it. And when we talk about system, it doesn't just mean one system. And I've heard people, some people talk about the musculoskeletal system more than the mental system, and more than less than the gut system. So you have to kind of align all your organs from out of that pause. So that pause, like that hitches that people feel, how to release yourself from that. If you fail to release yourself at certain ages, and because we've already had this conversation, I'm sorry we didn't record it, but as you were mentioning to me that you're in your 70s, so at this point you are like, now for the new human, which is you, this is a new phase, and you have to adapt yourself to the things, because as your phase changes, so does your body, because you're in a different point in time and gravity, and whatever are the external factors that are manifestation of your own inner code and you following it.
And not just the physical stuff too, but there's other lifestyle things that kind of come into it, who you spend your time with and how you do that, and what you choose to focus on and think about. There's a lot of that factor too that isn't discussed all that much, but I think it's sort of important. Like the things that were super important to me in my 30s and 40s, let's just say, and now, they don't resonate the same way. They don't. I'm not striving to accomplish certain things, particularly in the realm of work or a social network. I'm not really doing much of new of that. I have certain things that I'm very comfortable with and that I like. So I do more of the things I like. And I don't have to do, I'm fortunate enough, I don't have to do a number of the things I never liked. I don't have to. And so that is sort of a mental well-being. And then being reminded of the things that work for me physically. One of the things that I think is kind of a cool thing about aging is that the things you could do physically, the foods that you would eat, or the things you would put in your system for whatever reason, the effects of them, you could sort of recover from things quickly or not be as affected. But now my system, maybe I'm just more intuitive because I've been living longer and paying more attention, but I know pretty quickly when something doesn't work, and I have to like not do it if I want to feel good. So that's kind of a cool thing. I mean, it's like, is my body more sensitive, or am I more aware of it? I don't really know. I don't care, but I just think that I kind of look at myself as a little bit of a test tube for myself. I'll try something, I'll see how I feel, see if it works, and then sort of adjust either to zero or somewhere in between zero and, the ultimate amount, because, you can overdo stuff too and make yourself not feel good by doing things in excess.
That's good to know that you know yourself. I say that, the person who has the most data about you is you.
Yeah.
Your body is a manifestation of your micro decisions, and your big decisions, and even the smallest decision is gonna lead to the manifestation of who you are today. So protecting it is always important. Your own system, because your body is the holder of your consciousness throughout life and your experience. It records your experience. And I also feel that your body is a manifestation of whatever is the overwhelming thought in your brain. So I recommend it to at least all my friends and family is that please filter yourself. Just like as you were saying that, we're a combination of internal code and an expression of self as it interacts with its environment. So filter it. You're free to filter it. And sometimes, you're bound in certain places, and that's like, the randomness of existence. And as a believer, I feel that, your code is placed in a moment in time for a reason. So as a believer, I that makes my life a lot easier. So I'm not a skeptic. I'm a full-on believer. So, and as a healer, I've seen miracles enough times to know that this is not just expression of myself. However, I do feel that every code is placed, and then the codes have pre-programmed exits from the matrix of existence also. So at that point, if you feel that you are not ready for that exit yet because you have not manifested that thing that you're capable of yet, and you would know it because you're now plugged in with yourself and you can understand your intuition better than anybody else. Even your wife, even your partner doesn't know it as well as you do, even though you have been with that partner for a very long time. How I think that in the future of humans, your AI concierge will probably know you better than the partner that you're with, the other human partner. However, human connection is very important for the manifestation of your code. That's very important, and you have to be plugged in with the right person to manifest whatever you're expressing. That being said, at some point in your existence, that code can be renewed easily just by things that you can simply do by yourself on a daily basis. But as you get deeper into your life, you will see that your consciousness is so much sharper. Now you can't get easily distracted from shit that used to distract you when your consciousness was this young little chirpy thing. So when you go, one of the fascinating things I've discovered in my life is that I found people with the best brains, with the best intuition, and their mental alignment taking place after they're 80. And at that point, most people have lost connection with their physicality because it has either fallen into disarray or disease or some other form of chaos that they couldn't prevent. It's the crumbling of a cookie, it's like can crumble into many million ways. However, keeping that thing together has some proven ways that are currently available. Medical grade anti-aging, I like to refer to it, but these days it's being called by several names like longevity stuff, and you go to people who are experts and stuff. So this is where the new alignment and new awakening, I feel, it's accelerated over the past year or so. I think 2025, the awakening to longevity, like people are like, oh, I need to talk to somebody. And that's when I thought that, okay, I should come out and speak about it more. And then, I renamed my very boring sounding anti-aging with Dr. Giovanni to Bathroom Diaries. So people are like, what is he talking about? And then Bathroom Diaries is where you're going to align with your intermittent pauses or permanent pauses.
Okay.
And that's where that's my, that's the reason that we are meeting today, that, I want to relaunch my podcast.
Yeah. So your podcast, Bathroom Diaries, really delves into some of the things that we can do. I guess you have other physicians on there that you talk to. But I'm very curious about some of these, as you say, medical grade things people can do to improve situations. Now, I just found out about something the other day. I was talking to a friend of mine who has he's got a heart condition of some type. and he told me about this medical grade omega-3 called Lavazo. Lavazo, is that the name of it? I'd never heard of it. So I looked it up and I was trying to find the ingredients. You know, they say omega-3 and EPA, but it didn't say where it came from. So I don't know if this is something that was created in a lab or if it's from actual, fish. I don't know where it comes from because it didn't say when I looked it up. And then I'm wondering, some of these medical grade, and you can probably expand on what some of the other things are. Because I looked up side effects too, and there were some for certain people. So, I always think that. There's that, I think it's the third law of motion, which is for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So I always wonder about these things that are so miraculous, what happens on the B side that may not be so great. And, how do you know? And, what do you know that I don't know? Because I don't know anything, but what is somebody who's studying this? I hear about, and I'm going to ramble a little bit. I hear about peptides and people doing injections of these things, and there's so many things that people are experimenting with. How do you know the balance? How do you know the amount? How do you know what works? I mean, there's so many things. I guess you can learn certain things from blood work and other types of testing, but it seems very daunting when you get into this sort of extra fine tuning of health as you age. Did that make any sense? What I just said?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
I hear this. This is a very important question. You are bamboozled and overwhelmed with all the things that people have thrown at you, such as one of the names that you took, Lovaza, which is a very old, like it's like 2017. We're talking about something that we were talking about in 2017, but right now we're in 2026. So yeah, I totally understand. And 2017, we were in a different realm. There were different competitors for things. And listen, all of these, even our failures, where failures are stepping stone towards success. Our ancestors were doing something totally different. And the question is, are we going to learn from it? Something that didn't work, like what is the data? And then how? So when you're talking about Lovaza, you're talking about, again, the sickness management system, a medication that is being prescribed in the sickness management system of the healthcare system. So again, sickness management is, how can you tell sometimes, is it a sickness management? Sickness management system is going to cover your medicine. Insurance. So your insurance is like your car insurance. Your health insurance is like your car insurance. It only activates when you have a disease.
A problem. Yep.
A problem. Like something has happened. Now, so that's not proactive management of health.
Right.
So over there, when you already have developed a problem in your system, that you're in a different system, the system will try to do things that it feels best, that it can, that can help you improve your chances of survival and lasting as long as you can. So sickness management system is a management system that is designed to help you not die from one of the sicknesses that you've developed through the course of your existence. However, the proactive health management system is different. It also is going to bamboozle you with the amount of things you can do to save yourself and protect yourself. However, there are some cardinal things that are now medically tested over the past more than a decade. And there are several competing things because we're learning new things too. So one of the things I also feel a lot of gratitude in 2025 was the awakening to also the understanding that we now will all have access to something like an artificial super intelligence that can take your data and actually tell you what will work and what will not work. Now, right now, that we're still not there because that concierge that you will easily be able to get is not fully trained and fully launched yet. However, it is in the making, and I am sure that somebody's going to launch it. But the thing is that once it gets launched, it is your concierge. It is your person that is there to tell you this, and you can put on filters on it. See, even your concierge, you got to put, when you're making your tea, you can put a filter that you don't need shit. You only need the stuff that works. So you say filter
Right.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, filter it for me. Filter it with this is my blood work. This is my mother's problem. This is my father's problems. These were the medications they were on. How can I prevent from becoming them? Because you are most likely to first turn into either your mother or your own father. Because you're carrying the ancestral code of your parent and their problems and their parents' problems too.
Right. Well,
So
so that is an interesting thing because there is a certain amount of DNA testing that's available just to sort of see where you're predisposed
yeah.
from even behavior to
Yes.
things like methylation and all these different
Yes.
aspects, heart,
Yes. Yeah.
longevity, genes. There's so many
100%.
pieces to the thing. But if
You're very complicated.
yeah, and what's interesting though, what you're talking about is if you can mesh that data, your sort of, what you're sort of predisposed to have or not have, mixed with your the data of your blood, saliva, urine, fecal samples, all those things where you can get information and put that all into a program, and it's going to and it can tell you, back off on this, do more of this, try this, and it certainly doesn't eliminate personal responsibility. it actually accelerates it.
Bathroom, I tell everyone that your future of your doctor will install a sensor in your toilet. That microchip is gonna measure the data from just what you release in your toilet. And if you have cancer cells floating in there somewhere, we will know before you manifest, even like a large enough tumor to, whatever. So we'll be able to fight your cancer cells. Your doctor might say, hey, it's time for your oil change.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, have you ever tried an oil change for your system?
No, I've done some liver flushes and that kind of stuff. I haven't done.
Well, how did you do that?
How did I do it? I was taking something like a magnesium citrate to go to the bathroom. And then I would drink some oil, organic. I forget which type. That one kind didn't set with me well, so I switched to another one. So I would see like these floating chunks in the water, like that were coming from the liver. That was kind of an interesting take on things. There was a clearness to my mental state and vision even after doing those. I did them for a number of years. I haven't in a while. I haven't done water fasts yet. I'm a little bit worried because I get hungry very easily. I don't know if I want to be hungry.
So what you are describing to me is more like a gastric cleanse.
Yeah.
We don't refer to it as an oil change. An oil change is like an infusion, intravenous. It goes into your bloodstream.
I have not done that.
And that is because it bypasses your gut. What ends up happening is, and it's very common in the sickness management system. So whenever you have a sickness and you go to the ER or urgent care, the first thing they'll do is an oil change. They'll put like a infusion in there. They'll get access and they'll put like a bag of normal saline, like something like,
well, I guess
something like this, it's a bag and it will be hanging.
Well,
and that's just like an oil change.
Oh, okay. Well, I have had that the one time I was in the hospital for
Yeah,
pneumonia.
so
I
that
had
is an alkaline fluid, which what it does is that like when due to any stress or any illness, you sometimes become very, very acidic. Your blood can become very acidic. So they put like a little alkaline, it's like a half normal saline, which just alkalinizes your blood and it flushes
oh,
out
okay.
some of the stuff. So that is like basically an oil change. But at your stage, when we are lifting somebody out of the pause, we not only perform this, but we also add other antioxidants and other minerals and nutrients to balance your internal system for it. So that's like a medical grade oil change
Okay.
for it. It's not like something that you could do it at home. You have to come to a body shop, a doctor who is trained in that kind of thing.
So people come to you and do these things, obviously. How many times a year would somebody do that if they were sort of diligent about it and maybe not even sick?
Yeah. No, so this is not sickness management.
Right. Mm-hmm.
This is health management.
So if I were to say, hey, I want to do an oil change, you'd say, oh, come every 6 months or come every week.
Well, see, it does carry a cost. So,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
then insurance
and it's not
does not,
insurance covered, I'm
insurance
sure.
doesn't cover it because insurance only covers it when you're in a sickness and you present to one of their hospitals or
Yep.
urgent cares.
Mm-hmm.
They perhaps won't even cover it in your doctor's office. I mean, maybe some doctor, like if I decide to do it on somebody, I've never tried it because I stopped working for insurance, but over a decade ago. But maybe it will be covered. However, insurance still does not cover all the antioxidants or all the
Sure.
vitamins
Mm-hmm.
or nutrients or like magnesium and zinc and like the insurance may give you some testosterone but will not cover zinc for you in your oil change infusion because even though we now know that zinc is an ingredient that helps your body formulate testosterone. So internal healing of that system needs to when it needs to take place, you may have to still find somebody like concierge who can create that thing for you.
This is where I think certainly family medicine is headed more away from insurance and more into concierge because and concierge sounds fancy. Just the word itself sounds very elitist, but it isn't. There's a way
No.
there's a way to
Yeah.
structure that
Yeah.
where you're circumventing some of the initial
Yeah.
high costs of conventional medicine, hospitals in particular, that overcharge by 10, 20, 30 fold of what the actual cost of something is.
Yeah.
Let's just take an x-ray. If you look at a hospital x-ray, my wife broke her foot and we went in for an x-ray and they wrapped it up and sent us and said go to an actual person that specializes in ortho. That bill was $700 for the hour and 20 minutes we were there. And all it really consisted of was an x-ray and somebody wrapping her foot with some stuff, a temporary cast. Now, there's no reason for it to be that much money other than it's a hospital and they need to earn a certain amount of money to pay all the people that are running around there. Now, if she were to go to, a contracted type of x-ray place and get a price there, it'd probably be like $50 or something like that. It would be a reasonable amount. The copay is probably higher than what a place that could charge for a reasonable price, which there are places where you can, medical care is sort of circumventing the medical system is what it seems like to me. And I think people are afraid of it because they think, oh, I got to have this. I mean, you certainly do need insurance if you need a serious hospitalization for something. But this idea that you're talking about and what you're doing seems really where we're headed is to go away from insurance as much as possible and create a system where people can take responsibility for themselves. The doctor knows they're going to get paid. They're not going to get screwed by insurance, but they're charging a reasonable rate. Am I making sense with this? Or do I have it sort of correct?
So originally I trained in my country of birth, which was Pakistan, and which is a British, used to be, we were a British colony. And
I think everything
so
in the
we
world was a
studied.
British colony at one time.
So they left some really good schools and technology for the subcontinent. So they did bring education into this area. So I studied, so basically originally I did bachelor's in medicine as well as in surgery. However, when there is a deficiency of medication and tools and access, it's a very the first time that when I re-entered medicine, I had to, take licensing exams in United States and retrain myself in a completely different system of care. I, for the first time, realized what abundance in science can feel like, where you're not just limited to just giving one same medication to every person because that's the only thing available, but there is an access to all the elements that are the best in the world in this country. And that is something that is, sometimes I felt that Americans are not grateful enough for what they have. You have access, like people in Europe would rather come to United States just because of access to elements. Now, I'm not talking about people who don't even know that these things exist, because the world will always be separated between people who know and those who don't, and the guided ones and the not guy who skipped the guidance.
Yeah.
So that will be a trial and error thing. So I feel that there is this access to elements that United States have, and we're blessed for it. And we have the access now. If you get sick, the amount of access you have in American system of care, that's going to just help you chronically manage your illnesses till the last day of your life. Sometimes overstretching your boundaries
Yeah, sure.
of existence, where you're just laying there just because they appreciate your consciousness so much. However, the management of health is definitely not that costly. I tell people that, if you think aging, anti-aging is expensive, wait until you age. When every system is disintegrating, how much it costs. The other day, I had like a very close friend of mine who was visiting, and she told me that her brother-in-law got a heart replacement in a local New York hospital, and they were looking at the bills, and it cost them, the healthcare system, $7 million to create this new heart transplant in somebody who's perhaps your age. This guy was like, I think 68 or 70, something like that, in a place where they thought that he could benefit like the next like 10 years or so. But it cost the system that much. So yes, I mean, how, like, there are ways, like, could the system have spent proactively on preventing to have to do this heart transplant? I don't know, but it is worth a shot. And because of AI now, you have like a system where you can give all your information, and it can actually make some salient points for you if we train that system correctly. It's at that point that it can learn a lot. I mean, it will still keep learning, because this artificial super intelligence system, even though it's like in its infancy.
It's the best use of technology.
Exactly. So every human becomes important. We don't, like, it will consider your story and your presence and whatever your problems are. as, and the thing is, it can filter for you. It can tell you in less than 2 microseconds if something is FDA cleared, FDA approved, if somebody is like, you know, it'll probably it's coming to like, it's that hive brain of all of our consciousness says will just join itself, and they'll be like, did this work or did that work, and on how many humans it worked. We're not there yet, but we're not too far from it also. It's like it's within reach. Like I feel confident that we'll be able to reach that point where we can hyper to fall into the depths of every human story.
That would be amazing. I think, most people don't even know about this yet. There's a certain amount of unwinding of beliefs that are not serving the majority of people, which is going from, that's a big shift to go from sickness management to, building a healthy system,
longevity.
Yeah.
So basically, the thing is that we're coming to alignment, and thank God we have the tools which will make this alignment possible. Where if we're extending your lifespan, we're also extending the health span to match your lifespan, so that whatever you're capable of, you can, go ahead and do it. And if a brilliant idea comes to you at 80, your system shouldn't be like physical system shouldn't be disintegrating at that time. You should still be able to go and put that idea to reality, rather than just pass it on to some future mind. Which is also like we humans, we do it. We have been doing it. That's why we've come this far.
Yeah, it feels like almost like your body's betraying you if that's happening before your cognitive abilities go away. But then
no, it's a pause. So pause is a hormonal pause. So for women are more aware of their pauses because we have a physical symptom that manifests at that time. For instance, like our periods stop. But for men, when they hit andropause, something called andropause, where their hormonal disintegration and decline starts, they don't know what's going on because nobody teaches them this. And then we talk about women getting gaslit. So have men been gaslit, but men, because they expressed their dissatisfaction with their hormonal imbalance and for instance, they'll go, so yes, Viagra is FDA approved, or Cialis is FDA approved. Testosterone therapy, you will get it if you're going to go and complain to your doctor. However, nobody's going to tell you that, listen, this is your system. It's not just these hormones pausing. Everything is going to pause. Your gut is going to pause. Your brain is going to pause. Your skin is going to accelerate in its aging. And there will be days that you'll be very stuck. You'll feel very stuck. And those days, if they become a little, longer, then, if that period becomes a little longer, then you can be susceptible to illnesses and developing chronic diseases. So that pause, the lifting yourself out of that pause is like something that is a new understanding of menopause and andropause that is also descending upon the medical community around the world. So, and I am also one of those activists who joined this menopause and andropause battle and of spreading awareness. So, it's like spreading awareness where, it's because it's a new information for humans, both men and women, because women were aware, but we were not doing much about it because we were kind of misguided with some researches that took place. However, this is being corrected. It got corrected in 2025. So greater understanding is going to come. I do want you to be receptive about peptides also, but not peptides are created equal. And you'll have to figure out which phase of that peptide revolution you're existing in, because a peptide for a 30-year-old is going to be different than somebody who's at your stage. And that is, again, dependent upon who is your doctor. And so for Bathroom Diaries, I only bring people in who are other doctors who are in this field of longevity and anti-aging. So actually, I have somebody whom I'm interviewing, one of my mentors, Dr. Robert Frankel, who is in New Jersey, at the Jersey Shore. He's a peptide expert of some of very famous stars, and we will be going through discussion of each decade. So we're starting with adolescence, but please follow my podcast, and so I do release the episodes fairly regularly, like at least once a month,
Great.
if not more.
I think that's important, because the best part about the internet is access to people you would never get to personally meet or see or get to know for 10 seconds, but this way, I've gotten to meet people like you and all the other great guests that I've had with all this valuable information. I was going to ask you about, I've had people on the show, two things I wanted to ask you about. One is stem cells, exosomes, that whole world of infusions and direct, site targeted things for certain conditions. But then there's sort of an overall infusion you can get. Have you seen any good results with that? I mean, the claims that I've heard are pretty good, but they're temporary, like a lot of things. I'd like to hear about that. What you think of that is in terms of, because that seems to me also it's both. There's an injury and I want to help fix it, and there's also I want to just feel energetic and great and younger. So that's the other piece of it. Can you talk about that a little bit? Your experience with that?
Yes. So I find it fascinating how people are awakening to this realization that it is possible to use baby cells. So what are stem cells? Stem cells are baby cells that can grow into anything you want. However, your body and the miraculous thing about your body is that your body can regenerate and restore itself when you're young. So that peak, when you're in your peaks, when you can go and destroy your system all day long, and then at night you're going to go to sleep, and the next morning you're going to wake up completely fresh, renewed. And that is because it just regenerated itself. From whatever assault you put yourself through, it's going to regenerate itself. But as you get older, that regeneration becomes slower, just because now, even though you may have stem cells, but they're old. So one of the reasons that stem cells stop working for some people is because when your blood, they're extracting it from the blood that's old. So if your blood is old, it is going to create old stem cells, and that are not going to create the miracle that you're expecting it to. So that's one of the reasons that when we do your oil change, we put all the food for your body system so that it can create that miracle for you. So the person who makes your food for your system is very important, and that's intravenous. It bypasses your gut because your gut also pauses during your pauses. So even if you're feeding it whatever manna from heaven, it is not getting to the target because it's your gut has paused. Your gut is as jaded as you are. That's what I like to say to people. So it's not going to open its door and let some unknown nutrients in that your ancestral DNA can't recognize. And your gut biome is very protective of you. It protects you from even you yourself. So whatever you're putting inside. So when we do the infusions, like I personally like to do it preservative free. We're trying to find basically ways to do it as fresh as possible, and that is a very ethical way of living longer also, because otherwise, if we make, like, we're 7 billion of us, if we all continue to live for hundreds and hundreds of years, how will we provide for all the wellness? Because the mother earth can only feed so many people. So many of these nutrients we provide for you, so that at some point food just becomes an entertainment where you meet your family and friends. We nourish your system from the side, in a different way. So we will, I'm sure, find other better ways and healthier ways, and that system is still evolving. But I see a lot of potential. I think one of the reasons that is stem cells and exosomes, I use them all the time for hair regeneration. And listen, nothing is permanent. Humans are a perishable item. You're like a vegetable that's decaying away through time. So nothing is going to be permanent. You want to keep it fresh, it'll stay fresh. You have to do certain things about it.
How would somebody go about finding a doctor that does what you do with these infusions? How would is there some sort of a website that has people who have been vetted, or how would
No.
because I'm all
No, so
there's people
yes.
all over the country. I'm in LA, you're in New York.
Yeah.
I'll never
Yes.
go there to do this because I won't do that. But
I come to California. I just got 2 years ago. Actually, last year I got my California license. So I do go sometimes to San Francisco. You will have to find, your doctor will have to go and train. I am sure that now that I've brought it in your consciousness, you'll be able to find somebody who can do it.
Is it called something? I mean, is there like a sort of a you're trained as a what do you call it? Is how would, let's say I just did an internet search, what would I put in to sort of narrow it down a little bit?
I like to call myself your infusionist.
Okay.
So, and it's better that your infusionist is a medical doctor, also trained in human body, because nobody should mess with your blood flow other than somebody who's gone to med school.
Yeah.
Sometimes nurses do it, but they usually have to work under the supervision of a doctor.
Yeah.
Some states are allowing them to do it themselves. I personally feel that it's best to, it's best practice to have a doctor do it for you.
So are you doing testing prior to this to determine, what the person actually needs? Are you doing like blood panels and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
There's hundreds of markers that you can test for now.
Yeah, but the thing is that, see, what it's like an oil change, right? So think of it just like that, because then it makes it clear for you that it is just a very basic, small thing. Even in the hospital, and there's tons of data. You can see, like, when you go to the hospital, how sick you are, they draw your blood and then they put the infusion in, and then they check you next day. You're better. Everybody's better. They have enough data to do that. What we're saying is that do it also for people who are healthy. Don't just do it when they're at the death's door.
Okay.
Right? So that's what we're saying. So data is already there. There are nurses who can do just a plain bag, if not a lot. Like if you're somebody like, who parties a lot, for instance, and you're chronically dehydrated, please go and do one every now and then. I like to tell people to do it like once a month in my practice. I'm saying that, we're eating shit, we're surrounding ourselves with shit. It's, excuse my language, I,
Well, it's a good
but
word
we're,
for it.
it's exactly, so, and I love food. I enjoy my parties. I love meeting people, but sometimes it's hard to filter yourself and not eat sugar or not eat, you know, um, fried food and
Yeah.
stuff. However, even the stress of menopause that is happening inside you, not let's say you become extremely disciplined and you're like, oh, I'm never going to touch any bad thing. And I'm like a saint. I'm never going to, have another drink in my life or whatever. Even then, the system disintegration that you're feeling inside creates cortisol spikes in your system that will make a lot of sugar spikes in your system that will cook your body from within, regardless of what you eat or not. So that's why I say that, it's healthier to do that oil change on a regular basis. And if your doctor is trained to also add nutrients and minerals into it, that are, you know, I think that it comes out to be, I sometimes feel that I become like a cook for people because it's, you have to get to know people and then you do it. It's like an oil change, like the cars that are coming to my body shop. Those are like, I get to know. I mean, yes, they're from their sickness management system. I always say, because your insurance will cover at least one blood work in a year. So just bring that, and that should cover several things.
Yeah. Okay. What an interesting way to look at this stuff. It's I'm always open to hearing how we can improve our health and well-being and all these things. It's and looking into the future is always a big part of it. So I want to thank you for one, for being on the show, and two, for being brave enough to turn in a new direction and expand and look ahead. It's it's going to help a lot of people. I know that it will.
Yes, it will. I am very hopeful that not only it's going to be very soon available like around you, because there will be doctors like myself who have trained in it for many, many years now. However, I think that now we also have different other FDA cleared and approved medications and devices, the energy devices that basically turn your body on again and bring you back in time. I think the best possible combination, and I think that being in United States will allow access to people all over the world would love to have access to the stuff that is being created here.
Yes, and be able to afford it.
And the thing is that, see, it will be hard for everybody to afford it, but when the complete knowledge of this thing, once the dust settles, even governments, they would rather spend money in healthy people and have people do good for their specific countries, rather than have to care for a lot of people who just get sick.
So the podcast is The Bathroom Diaries, and is that out now? That's happening already?
Yes.
Okay, The Bathroom
Yes.
Diaries with Dr. SOFIA Din.
Yes.
And what about a website? Is there anything that where people
Yes, my website is called BotoxGuru.org.
Okay. I've never done Botox.
I tell people that I'm not your guru. I'm the guru of Botox.
Okay.
I tell Botox what to do for you.
Okay.
Botox is one of the fastest anti-aging medications known to humans. It is a medication for your skin rejuvenation when applied. And yes, if you've never tried Botox, when we do it for men, we call it Botox. And I love it. It's going to just prevent your skin from aging. So it will
Well, that's
halt time disintegration for the areas you place it. Again, you have to find somebody who's very good with it. they're proficient with it. It's like, like anything, you need proficiency, and, people are gonna, future of doctors, they will, you will still need to go to a doctor to find out how to, whenever you get injected. And sometimes if you go to somebody who's not well trained, you will end up looking weird.
Well, that's what
So,
I think
then,
of. When I
you
think of
can't,
Botox, I think of freaky looking women with giant everything.
Yeah.
That doesn't look right. They look plastic.
So it is very addictive. Just know that, just like anything else, so it is a very addictive element. And people think that, and it does alter your perception of self. So, and because it is available in the market for purchase for cosmetic purposes, that is why when you go to a doctor, sometimes people, just want more and more. It's just like going to a restaurant and wanting like 5 dishes instead of being filled by half a dish. Now, if you have an ethical provider of Botox, that person is going to just throw you out of their practice if you're an addict. But sometimes, because, these are cash businesses and people have their own things that make them happy, it's like some places can turn into like bars, alcohol bars, where, even if you're an addict, they will keep giving you more and more alcohol.
I would be worried about that.
Sure. So so that is that. Yeah, exactly. So if you see somebody who's very weird looking, most likely they're at a place where they're just pumping them full without giving them a break.
Well, there you go, folks. Botox has its up and downsides.
And downs, yeah, exactly. Use it for anti-aging, which is always a microdose. Anti-aging is always a microdose, and know your doses very, very well. I say that your dose is your code. Your code has a dose that unlocks it.
Well, if you're one of those people that can't micro anything, maybe stay away.
Oh, exactly. If
know
you
yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for being on the show and giving us all this great information, and best of luck. I look forward to seeing what's coming, and I think you're going to be somebody that's important. Well, you are already, but I'm just even more important. We're into the future here with human health and longevity and happiness and consciousness, all those great things.
Absolutely. Just bringing people to stay connected with the favorite versions and for longer. And I'm very happy doing. It doesn't seem like work for me because it's something that I found my passion in it.
That's the best kind of work there is.
Beauty, yes, yeah. Well, thank you for having me, and I hope to listen to this. I'm going to follow you, give you a follow on your.
Thank you. Yes,
podcast.
I will, and I'm going to start checking out your podcast. That's one of the best things about this. We get to find each other.
Perfect. I enjoyed your questions.
Much appreciation for you folks listening to The Exploding Human. The website is theexplodinghuman.com. There's also a YouTube channel where you can listen. That is The Exploding Human with Bob Nickman. Once again, I want to thank Dr. SOFIA Din for being on the show. Have a fantastic day. Thank you.